2, 3. I think I can hear myself. Todd, we're going to have you at that mic over there. All right. Thank you guys so much for patiently waiting. We had some technical setup that needed to happen after what I hear was an amazing weekend of Jerry camp. So everything seems to be back up and running. You're listening to WVNC LP Bethlehem North Country Community Radio, 99.9 FM, and streaming online at nococommunityradio.org. I'm Amanda McKeen, and this is North of Normal. Last week, I ran into a listener at the grocery store who told me she had listened to an episode featuring someone she had already formed an opinion about. She told me she thought this person was stuck up. But after listening to the episode, she realized they were not the person that she had decided that they were. That's exactly why this show exists. This is not your typical podcast. This is not a place for promotion, religion, politics, or surface-level conversations. This is a space for real humanity, real experiences, real lessons, real hearts. I wanted to create space for us to turn down the noise of our culture, slow things down, and remember who we are. To celebrate the people who live among us, to learn their stories, and maybe to grow from what we hear. It's easy to form opinions about people from a distance. We see their title, their business, their reputation, or one small version of who they are, and we decide we understand them, but most of the time we don't. It turns out we're all craving something deeper. We crave connection. We need community. We need to feel seen and heard. That is what North of Normal is for. We're now in our second season, and this show only exists because people continue to say yes. Yes to listening. Yes to sitting across from me and being a guest. Yes to being honest, open, and real. And sometimes, yes to being willing to change our minds about one another. So whether you listen every week or you're joining us for the first time today, I'm so glad you're here. My guest today is Todd Bogardus. Todd, thank you for being here.
Thanks, Amanda.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you to pull your mic in much closer. Yep. So Todd and I had to kind of scramble because, things weren't ready for us. So we haven't even tested the equipment, done the normal thing that I do. Todd, I appreciate you.
That's all right. We'll do it now. Test 1, 2, 1, 2. We're good to go.
Good. I feel like you're the right person for this situation.
All right, shall we adapt and overcome?
Yeah. I think you've done a lot of that over the years. 1 second, I'm going to move something. We got a lot of stuff in the way. Okay, so Todd, thank you so much for saying yes to my invite. I realized that that was a very special thing, according to your daughter, Emma.
She's pretty excited that I'm doing this for you today.
Yeah, so I really appreciate that. I understand that you've been approached by people before and you just weren't ready at the time. I'm glad you're here now and really excited to hear more of your story. I'm gathering that a lot of people know who you are, and they especially know you because of your work with Fish and Game.
That's probably what I'm most known for.
Yeah, but you're actually currently in the private sector now.
I do. I retired in 2011 from the Fish and Game department, where I ended as a lieutenant there.
Okay.
And now that I've retired from there, I was given a job opportunity at the Littleton Coin Company, which was wholly owned. So I worked there for a short period and became an owner right off the bat.
Oh,
so,
nice.
It's kind of nice. It's a great company, local company, very well established. Been going since 1945. for, and I'm the security chief there, so we've kind of gone 180 degrees from hectic and crazy to a little more relaxed and working out well.
Way more relaxed.
Well, it is.
They probably don't have like chaotic, sudden break-ins or.
Thank goodness, no.
Yeah.
But we have quite a few employees. We got over 260 employees, which is a nice company. There actually were more than that when I started, but just through attrition, we're down a little bit. But now, where before when my phone used to ring, it was, what day are you going to be back?
Mm-hmm.
Now if my phone rings, it's, I'll be back very shortly.
Yeah.
So within an hour or so I'll be back, which is kind of nice. Nice change.
Good.
Good for the family.
Yes. And your family. Let's talk quickly about them.
Sure.
I actually knew your wife Henny before I met you. She had shown me a house one time.
Yes, we actually, one of our last houses after we bought, we ended up buying the adjoining property. And we wanted it so we could at least get the land, which gave us our view of a special spot in my soul, the Franconia Notch.
Yes.
And then we were getting rid of the cabanas on it, and maybe we would come and check it out. So, unfortunately, you didn't buy it from us.
No. But that was when I met Henny, and then I kept seeing her, around town, and then your name came up from Neil Brodeen, who seriously gets mentioned every episode.
Thanks, Neil.
Thanks, Neil. He had recommended that I invite you on, and that is how the show works. I invite guests on based on who's been recommended to me by previous guests and just people that I meet. So you were on the list, and you obliged to my coffee invite, and we had coffee and had a great chat. I'm being part of search and rescue for a very short time, and my understanding of this place and the people in it and the history is so small, but every person I meet and is broadening that understanding, and you were one of the people. I realized that you were in one of my favorite books that I've read about this place, The Last Traverse, written by Ty Gagne. And I remember asking you over coffee, like, are you in any of the books?
I am.
Yes, you are. So you were a lieutenant for how many years?
Yeah, so, let's see, I started with Fish and Game. We moved out here in 87 because my wife and I are originally from upstate New York.
Okay.
Which is southwest of Albany, the Catskills. And you always have to, when you're from New York, you have to say upstate so that people
don't associate
immediately with New York City.
Okay.
So the area where we grew up was very similar to the area we live in now. Farm country, just mountainous, Catskills with farms, lots of dairy farms. But just like here, those are starting to go by the wayside.
Yeah.
We moved out here in 87 because I met my wife at SUNY Coblestow College in New York, where I was studying fishing all life. And there was some friends of mine that lived in New Hampshire, and said, hey, why don't you, they knew I always wanted to be a game warden. I kind of knew that probably around 10 or 12.
Oh, wow.
I had a set of godparents who were very influential in my life and kind of got me involved in all of my outdoor recreational pursuits, hunting, fishing, as well as they kind of got me into Smokey Bear. So I collected Smokey Bear as a youngster. And that got me thinking, Forest Service, things of that nature, Ranger.
Yeah.
And then through my life, I ended up going to one of the New York State's conservation camps, conservation education camps up in Lake Colby, Seminole Lake, where that was a great influence for me. It taught me more huge influence to me. And yep, didn't want to go I wanted to. Went to college, got my degree, and then started testing. Because I wanted to have to take a state test.
Okay.
Tested in New York, and then I had friends here in New Hampshire, and I went, why don't you test out here? All right, let me come out and see what it's all about. So we came out. The day I was talking to the law enforcement division about what would I have to do to test and get hired. We wanted to hire for a fish hatchery position today. Are you interested? Sure, why not? I want to do that because it was going to be like 6 months or so before they were going to have a test. So went down the hall, talked to the fisheries manager, and had me job interview right there on the spot. And it was kind of funny. He was like, seriously, you want to move out here to be a fish farmer at one of our hatcheries? I'm like, absolutely. In my mind, I got into the system, I did the test, and they at least know who I was.
Yeah.
What I didn't realize is being from New York and having just graduated, New York's pretty high tech when it comes to the fish hatcheries.
Oh.
New Hampshire was still old school fish farming.
Okay.
Which is neat, but not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
So they called me up shortly thereafter and said, seriously, you want to move out here and work at our fish hatchery? I said, absolutely. So I was hired, and I worked at the Powder Mill Fish Hatchery down in New Durham. So an interesting story there is I actually grew up in Durham, New York.
Durham.
Durham. And then when I moved to New Hampshire, I worked in New Durham, New Hampshire. So can't make some of
Do you
this
think
stuff
that was
up.
for you?
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think things have worked out. So did that, and actually they tested very soon. It wasn't the 6 months they needed officers sooner. Tested, went through the testing process, and was fortunate enough to get hired. After you get hired, you move around the state. For the first year, they bounce you all over the place.
Okay.
Until your year probation is up, and then they make you a permanent officer in patrol. And so I bounced around the state. One of my assignments was here in Littleton.
Okay.
And there was something about it. I bounced around, and I came here, and it just hit me. And the patrol was open. So this is where I want to be.
You knew immediately?
Instantly.
Yeah.
And then when my year was up, you got to put in your wish list of the patrols that were open and where you wanted to go. Franconia Notch patrol was my first choice, and I was fortunate enough to be given it.
Wow.
So we've been here since, hired 86, we've been here since 88. Here in Littleton.
Wow.
For the most part. So we've established ourselves, created our family, and had a wonderful fish and game career while we were here. So let's see, how did you asked about the family earlier. So,
Yes, I
so
did.
the career started. When I had the patrol, I patrolled the top 7 towns of Grafton County. So it was Littleton, Lisbon, Lyman, Monroe, Franconia, Sugar Hill, and Bethlehem.
Okay.
Got all 7 there. So that was my patrol. The neat thing about being a conservation officer in game warden in New Hampshire is that you have your patrol and you are expected to take care of your patrol. You're the guy. And that's what I really appreciated about New Hampshire coming here was I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be the one the community could look to when there were problems or issues fishermen related. So it was very attractive to me. What comes with that, though, is quickly our family grew, we were able to, we had 2 children, Joshua and McKeen. And then we have a third son as well, our third child, who's our bonus son, Keegan. Keegan came to us through my son, came home with him one day to use the computer center and never left. He was having some troubled times and became a part of our family, gave him some guidance. Now he's a successful man in the Navy. So I thank them for putting up with me as I lived my career, because it wasn't easy anymore.
Yeah.
So then, let's see, so I was an officer for 13 years, and then I was fortunate enough to get promoted to lieutenant. So I became the district chief of District 3, which is mostly Grafton County, some Belknap, and Merrimack. Essentially, the way I describe District 3 to folks is from Littleton to Concord, and then go west to Vermont. That's the size of the district.
Okay.
When I worked at this area as a patrol, I was part of District 1.
Yep.
District 1 was all of Colas County and my patrol. When I became lieutenant, my patrol went with me to District 3. So I kind of kept it. And I think the reason I kept it was because Concord wanted me to keep it because of Franconia Notch. Franconia Notch was, I always considered my baby, because one of our roles that we did was search and rescue. So our role was mostly fish and wildlife law enforcement, with the addition of coordinating search and rescue and conducting search and rescue, which in that role I always tended to gravitate to. I enjoyed it, and was very busy at it, having the Notch. So it wasn't anything I was shying away from.
Yeah.
So for it to come with me was fine.
Yeah.
I already knew it. It was nothing new. Some officers never gravitated to it maybe as much. Maybe felt it was a little more of a nuisance at times.
Yeah.
And certainly it could be. We wanted to be doing fish and wildlife patrol work. And the SAR calls would come at the most inopportune time. Opening day of muzzleloader season, you're trying to avoid it all fall for muzzleloader season to show up, and now you're going to grab somebody with a broken leg and bring them off and out, and they're all of them working with deer hunters. So frustrated in that aspect they would be. But I kind of took stride with it. It was a role we did. I've always, since the beginning, probably instilled to my father, I always kind of had that public service, take care of other people mentality. And in our role as a conservation officer, I guess in my mind where I had probably the most impact was serving people, and that was in the search and rescue role. So as time went on, and then I became the lieutenant, that became even more prevalent in my roles. And then ended up eventually becoming the leader. I was first the assistant, and then eventually became the leader of the special search and rescue team for Fish and Game. And ran with that for 9-10 years. And during that, ended up pretty much managing SAR missions throughout the state. Whether it was a bigger mission, decent, wherever we had to go, and coordinating those efforts. hopefully we had some success at that.
Yeah. There's a lot of different groups out there that you probably had to help create cohesiveness with as an incident commander.
Yeah, like I said, we never did it alone. So we also had a group called the Search and Rescue Working Group, which would have monthly meetings made up of leadership from all the volunteer groups, especially in the White Mountains, as well as state and federal fish and game and foresters, where we would work out issues and debrief after missions to try and work through any issues or personalities that came up during missions. And there was a lot of work amongst everybody to keep that going and work out problems and improve. That's what you want to do. You want to improve on everything. Try and make everybody more efficient down the road. But yeah, that was probably in that role one of my more challenging roles was trying to keep everybody working together.
Yeah, people are always the worst.
People are people.
They are people. I'm curious, like, I know about, I'm guessing the last traverse, that incident was one of your higher profile rescues, but I think you had others too.
Yeah, I had quite a few. Certainly that one was talked about a lot, probably more so because of Todd's book, Watch for Ghosts. But it's an important one because it's one I take a lot of pride in that one. It was a good save.
Yeah.
We kind of batted 50-50 on that one. We lost one, but we saved one. And it was a miraculous mission. For those that don't know about it, there were two victims back in 2008. And there was a storm that was predicted probably about a week and a half before it was going to show up. And everybody knew it was going to be a doozy of a storm with a lot of wind, a lot of snow, cold temperatures. And get all these weather reports telling people, oh, the weatherman's going to get it wrong. They were predicting this one pretty strongly. Everybody was like, this is going to happen. And I remember the day I was actually coming up through the Notch, and it was just about 2 o'clock. They said in the morning, around 2 o'clock, it's going to be hitting the area. And it was about 2 o'clock, and wow, it just hit. And it was blizzard conditions, high wind, snow. Like, wow, we're dialed in. We got this one right. Unfortunately, two gentlemen, James Osborne and Lawrence Fredrickson, chose to do the Franconia Loop Trail that day. And as they were going up the trail, they actually met some other folks who were coming down, who just went up very quick in the morning, peeked their head up over the ridgeline and said, yep, we were here, coming down on HikeSafe. So they actually ran into, so their route was to go up Fallen Waters Trail, which I know you were sorry, we probably also call it Fallen People's Trail now. Because everybody falls, and that's where you go every weekend to carry someone up. So Fallen Waters, and then across from Haystack to Lincoln to Lafayette and back to the Republic. As they were meeting people coming down Fallen Waters, they were being told, be sure to let her in. The nurse said, we'll be all set. The kids moved on. Unfortunately for them, they did not pay close enough attention to the forecast or the changing conditions. So when they were exposed on the ridgeline, that 2 o'clock moment hit, and they got hammered. And us getting there because the snow was still coming. There's a little parking lots. Anybody that remembers that storm, everything was at a standstill. Roads weren't being plowed efficiently. Parking lots that were not clear weren't being cleaned out. Everybody was just in the process of dealing with the storm. Eventually, officers were able to get there and did locate the vehicle and find where it was parking lot. So we knew where it was. Launched the search, called for several crews to come in. Sent everybody out if there was silence. Everything was slow motion because there's so much snow. Everybody had the right trail where they were going. The goal was to get the ridge line if you can get there. And I would always tell all the teams, you get the tree line, poke your head up, still go great. If it's not, you're the one standing waiting for that to move. You're going to put you to undue danger. You have to take risks, but we didn't put them there. We were here to try to get them out. So as the day went on, it was a long, slow day. I had called for National Guard, Black Hawk to come up and fly, which the National Guard are awesome. They're very strong relationship with those guys. And they came up and they were trying to do the best they could, but even with the winds up on the summits, they couldn't get the cloud cover and the winds. And they had a Black Hawk. And those guys told me they can't do it. It's not being done.
Right.
And we trusted them wholeheartedly. And I know that if they could do it, they'd have done what they could to make it happen. So it was a ground search. And crews made it up. It was getting late in the day. The weather wasn't letting up for us much at all. And it was very, very cold. One team got up the fall waters, they got to the tree line, and they were like, we're here. I believe it was the Fish and Game crew started first breaking trail, and MRS went in behind them and caught up to them. And then they were all together. They got to tree line, and the guys tell me, like, we're going to clear Little Haystack quickly, and then we're headed back to tree line. Go for it. Thankfully they did. They ended up finding, through the reflection with headlamps and that, they ended up finding Fred Fredrickson. And they let me know they had him, but at that point he was deceased.
Yeah.
Obvious. It was obvious.
And he was missing a glove, right? Was it him?
I can't remember that specific.
Okay.
They were missing several things.
Yeah.
They didn't go with gear to spend the night, per se. So they were underestimating the weather, and that gear issue certainly could have helped. So the team kept searching around, and eventually we found James, who was technically alive, but not much. Finding out later, he had a body core temperature of 70, 60 degrees,
which like defies, well, like.
He's a miracle.
Yes.
That's not usually readily survivable. Especially while you're still in those conditions. There are records of people lower than that, but most all of those are water submersion epidemic people, or frozen. So this was kind of unique. They were getting life signs out of him, and they were like, okay, we need to get him off now. And unfortunately, when you have a person in that state, if we had to carry him, there's a very strong likelihood he may not have made it. There's a good chance he would have to come back with us.
Right.
So you have to be careful with him, but we need him off there now. So the guard had already left and gone back, and process, James ended up actually surviving. Between Littleton Hospital and when they got him down to Dartmouth, through the efforts of all the staff at both hospitals, they got him rewarmed and he has survived. Thriving today, bicycling all over the country and doing wonderful things. He did pay a price. He lost a foot to a friend. And he lost some parts of his body. Clearly very grateful for everyone's efforts. He's expressed that numerous times. So yeah, that was a nice little feather in the cap. The teamwork worked out, and we had a good result.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing that you remember that moment where the sky parted and it was like...
Yeah, it was the one piece of luck we needed.
Wow.
So it worked out.
When you got home from that day, what do you remember?
That's when I have to make my 2-3 hours of press calls and
Oh, so it's not over.
That's what people don't realize.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's all over. You're all good. No, it's not. There's finals that need to be done. You need to close it out. You need to make all your press calls. You need to check on your crews, make sure everybody's still good. And then eventually you can get yourself some rest. And then it's report writing.
Oh, man.
But lots of follow-up also at the hospitals, checking on the victims to make sure they're good and understanding, and meeting with them so that they know who you are.
Is there a time where you finally can just let go of everything and unwind from all of that?
Usually not a lot because of the fun ones and become another one.
Yeah.
So that's the part people also, I guess, don't understand.
It doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop. They may not all be missions that you have to go out on, that you have to handle. Maybe somebody, let's say a simple one, you get somebody that doesn't have lights on one of the trails, a fallen waters trail, they don't have their lights because they get taken with them. But it's July, 70 degrees. There's really no danger in staying there all night. So we just tell them, well, you wanted to have an adventure, you're about to have one. And in a few hours, that great big light's going to turn on again and you'll find your way out.
Yeah.
Even though I did that to people, you still worry all night. And
Yeah.
it doesn't get worse.
Yeah.
But many times an hour later, you get a phone call from dispatch saying, yep, they're out.
Okay.
They found their way.
That's good.
Or you get called in the morning that the big light came on, it comes on every day. And you'll get way out.
Yeah.
But that's a part of it that people don't know or see because I didn't look at the paper. But there's a lot of missions that you handle where just one or two people have to go out and get someone.
Yeah.
So yeah, the phone rings a lot. And I didn't realize, honestly, when I was in it, how much it did ring. I had an office in my house, so at night I'd be sitting there dealing with things while everybody slept in the office and getting ready to organize them, calling the teams out, getting the plans ready. But then I retired, and the silence was eerie.
Yeah.
Because the phone went from ringing a lot to not ringing at all.
Yeah.
And I can remember one time it rang, kids said, Josh, Dad, the phone's for you. Seriously? Who's calling?
Who's calling me?
Wow. I actually got a call. So
Yeah.
it was just interesting how quiet my life turned
Yeah.
after I retired from it.
I'm curious how you processed that because I'm sure that you found a lot of your value for a long time in your role. And when that changed so dramatically, how did you see yourself any different?
Well, the key, I think, was I had another job I was going into.
Okay.
So there wasn't a lot of downtime. physically, starting to stress a little bit,
Yeah.
or de-escalating. But then it was also, probably for the first year or two, we would get those occasional phone calls from the new crew, the new leader, who would say, just want to run something by you, what do you think?
Nice.
Whether he needed to or not, it was nice to still be included a little bit.
Yeah.
So whether they needed it or not, it was kind of nice to still feel involved a little bit.
Yeah.
But when I got done, I also told myself, I'm walking away from it. Everybody's like, oh, you're going to volunteer for one of the groups, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. I chose not to. I think part of it would be a little hard with the role I was in to find a role like that for me. And I also wanted to stay away so that a new crew could be under the leadership and do it without me being around,
That's right.
being an outside influence to it.
Yeah.
Just, it's yours now, take the ball and run with it.
Yeah.
You need me, phone call away. But it's your show.
That sounds like the right call.
It worked for me.
Yeah. Probably worked for Penny too.
Yeah, she was pretty excited, I think, when I said I was getting done. Like I said, families pay a price.
Yeah.
So when I got done, I was fortunate enough that Josh and Ella were still in high school. So I still had a few years left with them
Nice.
to be a part of it.
Do you remember how they were with that change?
I think Emma took it okay. Josh had a hard time with it.
Really?
That's how I saw it. He liked the role, I would say. I think he was proud. It was hard because my dad was just a commoner. But now he's getting a part of the role a little bit, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. Can we talk about HikeSafe a little bit?
Sure. So, in my role over in Southside, back in the early 2000s, we were having a lot of missions, and there was a need to try and change the cycle of what was going on, because it just seemed like more and more people were getting themselves in some sort of trouble in the mountains, especially. And I should throw that out there, because this is what makes the papers. Everybody thinks all the search and rescue is just in the mountains burning injured or what they'll consider foolish hikers off the mountains. And that's not completely accurate. Our search and rescue is done throughout the state. The notoriety comes from the mountains, but we do a lot of searches for elderly, children, drowning victims. It runs the gamut. And people who cannot lose sight of that. People in their communities go missing as well.
Yeah.
And we and the large groups are very, very common to those folks as well. So HikeSafe. So we were trying to mainly deal with the increasing issues in the mountains. So early 2000s, the bosses and everybody were trying to figure out what can we do, and it ran the gamut from extreme things to things that may not work. And one of them, an extreme thing was, I told you earlier, they wanted to paint the yellow brick road. If there was a trail there, they wanted to just put paint everywhere, blazing trails, and probably paint on the ground to get people where they needed to go on the mountain, so we didn't need to go look for them. Might work, but just not practical.
Yeah.
Part of what Hampshire and the White Mountains are all about. So we talked a lot about things, and then the decision was made. It's education. That's really where we need to go with this. We were already letting people in New Hampshire, one of the first states takes a lot to know somebody who is being reckless. What they were doing for certain individuals wasn't for everybody. That's changed. Now we're going a little from recklessly, and it's also negligently as well. But billing everybody wasn't the answer at the time. So let's come up with another option. It was education. We kind of talked about it, and we kind of used hunter safety as the example. Prior to the 70s, there were a lot of hunting incidents every fall throughout the country. And all of a sudden, hunter safety was invented. People had to take a hunter safety course to get a certificate, and then they could buy a hunting license to participate in hunting. Later in the 70s, they noticed the hunting limits had drastically reduced. It went from multiples in a season to maybe one. So education was a success story. Clearly worked. So let's try going down that road with education. And if we need to do more later, we'll do more later. So a unique initiative was made in the state partnered with the White Mountain National Forest. So we had Fish and Game partnering with the National Forest. So we had a state agency partnering with a federal agency. Doesn't happen very often.
Okay.
So that kind of makes New Hampshire unique as well. A good chunk of our state is national forest. A bulk of our mountain missions occur on national forest or state lands. So we partnered ourselves with the Forest Service, both put money into the program, and sat down and came up with a program that we tagged HikeSafe. And through HikeSafe, we launched it in 2003. It was to be an education program. We kind of modeled some of it after the National Skiers Code. So we came up with a hiker responsibility code. To remind people to think of these tenets before they go out on a trip. To come up with those tenets, and like, okay, what are the biggest reasons we're going out on missions all the time? So what we came up with when we did hiker responsibility code is, well, people are out there and they don't have gear, or they have the gear because they went to LLB and bought it, but they don't know how to really use it. So we came up with be responsible with knowledge and gear. Like, okay, what else? We always go to people, and nobody knows where we actually went. The cars know it, and we park on what trail they went on. Okay, we're going to run with leave your plans, let people know where you're going, and if you need to change your plans and what that might be. That's one thing that James and Fred did correctly.
Yeah.
Another thing is, okay, what's else out there? Well, people are going out in a big group, and all of a sudden they get back to the parking lot and one person's missing. Okay, now we have to look for that one person. So we're going to breach the story as a group, and launched it. It took off. We also came up with a list of 10 essentials we wanted folks to have. So we came up with the 10 essentials of what we thought would make sense. And we kind of created the whole program so that it could be used throughout the country. One aspect of it, everybody was kind of saying the same message, just in different ways. Even in New Hampshire, people were saying essentially the same thing, but in different ways and avenues. We wanted to have one clear message. So in New Hampshire, we adopted HikeSafe, and it took off. So I should say, in the creation of the program, each department, I'm not sure if hers has had a designated coordinator, and I was a coordinator for the Fish and Game. So the two of us worked in collaboration to essentially create the program and then run with it. So Rebecca Oreskes was the representative for the forest groups. So the two of us ran with it, and we ended up going to the NASAR conferences and promoting it as much as we could through all of them. And it was wonderful because we got multiple states to sign right up on agreements.
Really? So other states use it too?
Yep, all the New England states,
Nice.
or I should say the top New England states. So we got Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont. We have New York, Adirondack, the Catskills 3500, the Arizona Sheriff's Department, Oregon Sheriff's Department, to name a few. So, and like here, Fish and Game officers run search and rescue. Like Arizona and Oregon, it's the Sheriff's Department.
Okay.
So each state has an entity that coordinates it. So yeah, it was kind of neat to see it taken off and running. I even had to go to Montreal to promote it from Quebec. And Quebec did adopt some of it, but they kind of, being another country, created their own with kind of our concepts.
Yeah.
All great, just use the same message.
Right.
And we were like that. We were free with it. We wanted people to use it and say the same thing. But you could take those same tenets and adopt it, like Arizona needed to adopt it for desert conditions. And they could do that. So, and we had the website, which was huge to get the info out. But more buy-in was we got all of our volunteer groups actually be our educators. So between the officers and the volunteer groups, HikeSafe presentations were going on throughout the state, all the schools, camps, every place we could get. And it's been going since 2003 and it's still going.
It's in the press releases. I mean, we usually mention it at the end.
Yeah, we're kind of doing some updates with websites and things of that nature. But what I said we've kind of gone full circle is, my son's company has kind of looked around a little bit to update some things for them. So it's kind of nice that he's got a hand in it.
He's carrying the legacy forward. That's really cool.
And that's probably where we got a lot of notoriety for that program.
Yeah, well, I noticed your truck license plate. I would always see this truck around town, and it said HikeSafe on the plate.
Still trying to promote it.
So it was cool to finally meet you. You pull in for coffee, and I'm like, oh, it's the HikeSafe guy. So that was a full circle moment for me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I know you had told me before we hopped on air here that you had exactly an hour. Is that still the case? Okay. Thank you. Since we started a little bit late. And hopefully
It's my adaptive part.
Yes, it is. You're very good at it. So you had mentioned a while back that Franconia Notch you consider to be your baby. And I like that you said that, but I want to understand a little bit more why you said that.
Well, like I said, I had spending 7 years in the Adirondacks, kind of had enforcement community. We're pretty tight. I guess in a sense you kind of have to be. But what I enjoyed up here, and again, the first year I bounced all around the state, I drive through towns in the southern part of the state, and we didn't even wave to each other. I was like, what's wrong with this? We're all doing it, maybe we're in a different hat, but there's just a little different mentality. And then I moved up here, when I was patrolling here, we were all one. Didn't matter what color uniform, hat, didn't matter. We were all there for each other, and worked on everything together if need be. They had my back, I had their back. We're just a community-based way of life.
Yeah.
And it worked for us. So when the Notch came, that was my patrol. And I spent a lot of time there. Spent a lot of time at Lafayette. And made some great friends with the state park. And I just always felt one connection to the Notch. I always called it my baby. My life failed. The old man fell down.
Yeah.
So
There are people who blame you.
yeah. I got big shoulders. I'll take it. Wasn't my choice. Sad day for everybody. But yeah, I just always kind of had a very strong affection for the Notch. And I get to look at it and enjoy it. You can know it every day. So just a special place.
I'm wondering if, like, it's amazing to me that after 24 years of being in Fish and Game and being involved in so many search and rescue missions, some that turned out miraculously and some that didn't, that it didn't negatively impact your affection for the Notch. I'm a little surprised by that.
No, like I said earlier, I embraced the search and rescue.
Yeah.
It was kind of my way of having that human impact in my job. When I grew up, my dad was a volunteer fireman, so naturally we kind of steered towards that. But he also taught me very early on, learned from his example. When anybody needed any help, whether elderly people on our street, whatever, you go and you help them, and you don't ask for anything in return. And that was instilled in me. I would go, and a neighbor up the road might need something, and I'd go up and help them. They'd always be like, oh, here's a couple bucks, go get some candy or something. And I can remember coming home, and he'd be like, they gave you that? Yep. Take it back.
Did you?
I did. Yep. But I learned from it. I'm sure I was angry at the moment. I can't remember. He probably gave me money to go get whatever candy it was. I was going to get me something with it. But I learned. You can do things for other people and not expect anything in return. Just do it. And I think the SAR side allowed me to do that. Yes, I was being paid at that point to do it, and it was my responsibility. But I got satisfaction out of it. And it was a way for me to really take care of people.
Yeah.
Especially when you have the successes. It really energizes you. You get going, you're like, you know what? We made a difference today.
Yeah.
So I think that's what kept me going. So I'll credit me going. I did right.
Yeah. Thank you to your wife, Henny, for helping connect you and I together, and to Neil Bergman.
Yes, Neil.
But really, when I'm thanking you for being here, I mean thank you for being here, like in the world, here in Littleton, here in the North Country.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And also, kudos to you as well for trying to get local word out so people are aware of this wonderful place that we live and the great people that are here.
I know. It really is wonderful. Yes, and I loved hearing that the Notch and this place called to you almost the same way it did to me. It was like this immediate, I need to be here type
Sure.
of thing.
Yeah.
You know? All right.
Something in the air.
Something in the mountains. To our listeners, thank you so much for your grace today, for being patient while we went through some technical setup at the beginning. And Todd, thank you for being here and sticking it out and giving me a little bit more time. I appreciate that.
More than welcome. It was a pleasure.
All right, you guys have been listening to North of Normal on WZNC LP Bethlehem North Country Community Radio, 99.9 FM, and streaming online at norcocommunityradio.org. Thank you for spending this hour with us. We're now in our second season, and every episode continues to remind me just how much there is to learn when we slow down, ask better questions, and give people the room to be fully human. You can find past episodes at clearviewadvantage.com/podcast. I'd also love to hear from you. If you have feedback, a guest recommendation, a story you think I should know about, or you just want to say hi, you can email me at amanda@clearviewadvantage.com. And before you go, I want to remind you about the North of Normal Listener Challenge. We have a very special guest who will be joining us next week, and they've offered something pretty incredible for a few of my most loyal listeners. The challenge is short, but it will test your memory a little and see how closely you've been listening. You can find the link on my Facebook profile, and I'll be resharing it again today. Entries close this Friday, July 31st, so make sure you complete the form before then if you want to be entered. Thank you for listening today. Thank you for supporting local radio, and thank you for continuing to make room for honest stories